Okay, so I call this section out of the frying pan into the fire because having been manipulated and gaslit all of our lives tends to make us extra susceptible to actually falling into other fundamentalist religions later. Not everybody does, definitely not everybody. But I have quite a few clients who went from one really conservative religion to what they thought was a more liberal, more lenient, more open religion, possibly more feminist, and then found out that they had been misled and that they have actually landed in a cult. Um, I have a couple of different clients who left some form of fundamentalist Christianity, Catholicism, evangelical, something like that, and left that but joined the Latter-day Saints because they thought the Mormons were somewhat more feminist. And bear with me if you're former LDS, because or actually, maybe you'll already know where I'm headed with this, but a few of them had talked with Mormon missionaries, and Mormon missionaries had brought up the concept of Heavenly Mother because Mormons do very literally believe in a Heavenly Mother. And so she's kind of an important figure. And a couple of my clients were like, wow, that's so interesting that you would have a Heavenly Mother right up there with Heavenly Father. Um, but once they got involved, they found out that it was pretty common for them to be told, well, we don't talk about Heavenly Mother. And they were puzzled. And they're like, okay, so why don't we talk about Heavenly Mother? And people would say something like, well, we don't talk about her in order to protect her. And this is, it's hard for me to talk about this and sound very respectful. I think this is weird. Joseph Smith basically created Heavenly Mother, but then created a religion so sexist and so misogynist that they won't even talk about her. Basically, she's a goddess, and yet they won't even talk about her existence to some extent, because apparently, even if you're a full-fledged goddess, you still need to be covered up and hidden and protected from the supposed harm that comes from people even talking about you. I don't have a great answer for this, but it's something that I've seen more than one person actually convert over and then find out that they weren't in a good place. Um, Other people have converted from different religions into other religions. And again, it's because we were brought up in these all consuming worldviews with a lot of manipulation, a lot of gaslighting, a lot of pressure to conform. And so we're just susceptible to jumping into something else that asks us to conform. Some of my clients have been through two or three religions before they actually really get themselves out forever. And even then, I'm going to say one more time, I'm not anti-religion. I'm not saying you have to get out of all of them in order to be healthy. I think that it is absolutely possible to practice a religion that is benevolent and that allows for open-mindedness and allows for free thinking and allows for mental health. It's just that the fundamentalist ones don't do all of that. So we're really a little too susceptible to going along with new information, even if that information doesn't ring true for us. And I also find that I and a lot of my clients have a strong tendency to, even if we get out of all of the religions, we will oftentimes pursue social justice or other new causes in a very religious and dogmatic sort of way that doesn't leave us with a lot of ability to free up our minds, doesn't leave us with a lot of ability to think openly and allow for other people's points of view. We tend to get very dogmatic about it because it's what we grew up with. It's just, it makes sense that we wind up that way. Coming up next, I'm going to talk about how some of us can be very susceptible to a very specific form of groupthink. Hey, a really quick note that I'm going to tack on to the end of a few of these videos. If you think that you might like to work with me one-on-one, then you might want more information about that. You can either look for the last video in this series, which I'm literally just going to call How to Work with Me, or you can go to my website and find out more about how I do this. I do all of my coaching on Zoom, so you can be any place in the world, doesn't matter where you are. I give you more information both in the wrap-up video and on my website about rates and how often to see me and all of the logistics of it. So if you're interested, check those things out.